Folks, just out here, just got my new GoPro with the media mod and the mic, hardwired mic hookup, so wanting to test that out today. So I figured I'd do a little short video and see how it worked. So I think we'll do that. We'll take the Road Glide today. We'll see how this thing works. I don't know if this mic is going to work or not, but this will be a good test. So we'll see how it works with the noise of the bike and the wind noise. Definitely louder for sure. Alright, and we're off. Beautiful day today. Start off with the old Frank's Holler Hill climb here. About a 12-degree grade. Deteriorating gravel and asphalt. Fun on a dirt bike, but not so much on a half-ton Harley. You just gotta kind of hustle it up the driveway. Hope for the best. Alrighty. A little cool out here today too. First time it's been in the 60s in quite a while. Beautiful day though. Figured I'd just ride over towards Morgan Mill and check this thing out, see if it works. Alrighty, and we're off. Just really wanted to see how this microphone responds, what the sound sounds like on the GoPro, what the, like I said before, what the ambient wind noise and bike noise is. It's hardwired, and I've got a, I forget the name brand, I bought it on Amazon for about 40 bucks, hardwired mic. I got the GoPro with the media mod, which allows you to plug a microphone in. When I bought this GoPro, one of the reasons I bought it is because it has Bluetooth connectivity, but I haven't found a Bluetooth mic that works really well. I paired it with my Shure Bluetooth headset, which does have a mic for phone calls and such, but it just didn't really work too good. It was fine when the bike was not running, but as soon as I fired the bike up, all you could hear was the exhaust and not me talking. So I'm hoping this hardwired mic will fix it a little better. I've got it right here in the helmet, so it's a little closer to my mouth. All right, welcome to Bluffdale. Don't blink. So right now I got my visor down. We'll do another test here in a minute with the visor up. I had it up until I pulled on the main road back there, or when I left the driveway, but it's up now. Excuse me, down now, so we'll see how that sounds. So we're just cruising on 377 now. I'm going to turn off on 1188 down here, hit a little county road, and then flip back around on 1188. Just make about a, I don't know, 20-minute loop out of it, 30-minute, something like that. So we'll see. There's Jasper's. One of the only places to eat here in Bluffdale if you're passing through. They got good gourmet burgers, and they have steaks and stuff too. Alright, here we go. 1188. tracks here are a little bumpy too, so we'll slow down for that. I think we'll take, I want to say it's 156 maybe, I can't remember the name of the road. Let's see. Yeah, 156. So this will come out at Morgan Mill, and this 1188 we're on, we'll just come back on it. Alrighty. Little county road here. Been down this road quite a bit. It's got a few curves to it, but it's also beat up in places pretty good. Like right here is one. There's usually, yep, sand right there. Every time it rains it washes back, but wasn't too bad today. I was out on the KTM Friday, saw a bunch of deer with this cooler weather coming in here, so plus it is mid-October. I don't know if bow season started or not yet either. It may have them screwed up, but definitely saw a lot more animals on that ride. Saw a few behind a game fence too. There's a lot of game fences around here. But anyway, yeah, just wanted to see what this mic is going to sound like. So that's really the point of this test. And also a good excuse to ride, which is always a good thing. But since I don't really have anything to talk about, I guess I can tell you about my bike. This is a 2020 Road Glide. I bought it new at American Eagle, Harley Davidson up in Corinth, just north of Denton, or I guess part of Denton, maybe, I'm not really sure. But bought the bike up there. The first year or so I had it, I pretty much just got it where I wanted it ergonomically. New bars, new grips, heated seat, put a Mustang touring seat on it. I really like that. I had one of those on my old Heritage Softails and it worked pretty good, so kind of went with the same thing. Put a Vance & Hines 2-in-1 Pro Pipe on it almost immediately after getting it, because I knew I was going to do some engine upgrades later, but I couldn't take the stock sound, or more correctly saying the lack of sound. So I like the Pro Pipe. It's loud and throaty, but it also is not overwhelming. I don't like a super loud bike, but I like to be able to hear it. So that worked out pretty good. But anyway, did that the first year or so, like I said, kind of working out a few ergonomic things. And then I had selected a Cyclorama 480 cam that I was going to put in this bike and just do a cam upgrade. These M8 engines really wake up with a cam upgrade, so I was planning on just doing that. But then I got busy with work, got sidetracked and didn't do it. So I had the tuner, I had the cam, you know, I had lifters, I had push rods, had the whole kit. And then over time, since I wasted a year not doing it, I said, okay, well, let's just go all out. So I went ahead and did the big bore kit too, to get it up to 124 cubic inch. So now it's 124 cubic inch. It's got the Cyclorama 480 cam, like I mentioned, and I'm running stock heads on this thing. This is a touring bike. I didn't want it to be a racing bike. I'd like to buy a new Softail at some point and do it up good with the stock heads, or excuse me, with the with some aftermarket heads. But on most of these M8s, from everything I've been reading, you're good up to 140 horsepower with the stock heads. But on this particular combo, we didn't get quite that high. Obviously, we weren't trying to go all out, but after I did the install, I had a dyno tuned at GMR Performance in Fort Worth. Steve up there's a good guy. He tuned my old Road King I had. And the numbers at the end of the day with this thing were 100, I believe it was 122 horsepower and 139.5, so right at 140 torque. And man, it just pulls like a friggin' train. so I'm real happy with it. Like I said, it's got stock heads. The 480 cam is not super aggressive, but it's obviously more aggressive than stock. And the other thing I did is to address a few things, I put an S&S manifold on it, as cast, not the machined one. Stayed with it's the stock 55mm, I believe, and got the stock throttle body. I did up the injectors. I used fuel moto injectors, and I think the stocks are 4.3 gallons per minute, and I'm running 5.5, so it's definitely getting enough fuel. But it looked great on the dyno, man. Like I said, it's got a pretty flat line torque curve, pulls really good. Real happy with the tune and the whole package as a whole. Like I said, I wanted it to be faster than stock, and it is by a great margin, but it's not, you know, so aggressive that you are going to have problems running pump gas and getting high mileage out of it. I mean, I'm still running a belt on this thing since it's less than 130 horsepower, 140 horsepower. But like I said, my goal is just to have a fun touring package, and me personally, there's nothing more boring than a stock Harley, because they're just super slow, don't really handle worth a shit. It's kind of like, why would you buy something like that? Well, that's, you know, to me it's a lot of fun to ride a slow bike fast. And of course with these mods, that's helped that quite a bit. The other thing I did, I forgot to mention, I put a set of Olin's black line shocks on the back. And this was a road glide. I guess you'd call it standard, even though it's not a standard, but it wasn't the special, it wasn't the ultra, it was just a road glide standard. And these things come with 12-inch shocks, so they're lower to the ground. And you know, Harley already has a compromised amount of travel at the rear, so I put the 13-inch version of the black line on here and got an extra inch of travel, which is great. Definitely helps a lot going down the road. And plus with the Olin's, man, I've got the sag set and the compression and the rebound dialed in, and it just works, man. It's like night and day compared to the stock shocks that come on this thing. They are totally worthless, and especially for a touring bike that's going to run you north of 25K, there's just no excuse for having shitty suspension on it like that. So got that addressed, and I haven't done it yet. I've only got a little over 11,000 miles on this bike, but when the time comes to change the fork oil at, you know, probably 25,000 miles, I'm going to upgrade the front end too. And I haven't really decided the path I'm going yet. I'm probably just going to get a set of Olin's cartridges and put in here and be done with it. It'll be pricey, but you know, you get what you pay for. I've got Olin shocks on my Ducati, and it's one of the few bikes I've ever had from the factory. Matter of fact, it's one of two that I've ever purchased where the suspension, other than tuning, didn't need anything from the factory. My Ducati Monster's one, it's got Olin's on it, and the other is my KTM 1290 Super Adventure. It came with WP suspension on it. WP, I don't know what that stands for, but it's KTM's in-house brand. They're pretty renowned for doing dirt bike suspension, and it shows on the 1290. It's pretty good right out of the box, at least for me. But you know, it's a big adventure bike, so I'm not doing jumps and abusing it very much, but it still has plenty of spring for me. I weigh right at 260, and with the amount of gear I carry and riding suit, boots, all that stuff, it's probably an extra 30 to 40 pounds, so it's probably closer to 300 pounds on the bike, and that thing handles it in stock format, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, this thing, I guess the other thing, I put these lowers on here, kind of hard to see. I put lower fairings on it. This is an air-cooled bike. That's another reason I wanted the standard instead of the Ultra. You know, all the newer, not all the new, but most of the Harley touring models, not touring models, but the upper end, like the Ultra and all that, they come with water cooling. And I just didn't see the need for it. I've been riding these things a long time, and yeah, they run hot as hell, but if you tune them correctly, if you shit can the catalytic converter and get the fuel ratio right, they run cool, so it's not really a big deal. So like I said, I did not want water cooling. That's just more things to potentially go bad or have to maintain, or a combination of both. But I did put these lower fairings on because I wanted some wind protection, and more importantly, I wanted somewhere to put some more speakers. You know, a lot of people put speakers in their bags, which is okay, but it's kind of hard to hear, especially with a helmet on. So I'm not sure what this guy's doing. Does he want me to come around or what? Or just running off the road here? Who knows? But yeah, that's the other thing I did to this bike. I put a pretty decent stereo in it. I don't want to win some kind of stereo contest, but I do want to be able to hear it going down the road. And the stock stereo was beyond weak. That's another component on these 20K plus bikes that should be illegal, to put a shitty stereo on them. But the route I went was with the Rockford Fosgate stuff. It's funny because now Harley's doing that too from the factory. You can buy these, Rockford Fosgate upgrades or whatever. But I spent a lot of money trying to get mine to where it looks stock, but it's not. So I've got the Rockford Fosgate speakers in the lowers and the uppers here. And the other thing is I got a 400 watt amp on the factory radio, because I wanted to keep the factory radio because I didn't want to lose the GPS capability, my tire pressure monitor system, all that stuff that comes with it. I looked at a bunch of other stuff. Sounds was another company that stood out to me, but the reason I went with the Fosgates instead is because they had it as a kit where it all mounted. Didn't have to splice into the factory wiring harness. I'm happy about that. I don't like having to cut into wiring harnesses. And on top of that, the Rockford Fosgate speakers are fully waterproof. A lot of the others are water resistant, but these are waterproof, and this is an all-weather Harley. It gets ridden in the rain, so I wanted the longevity of the waterproof speakers. But I've been real happy with it. The only thing that sucks on that is the amp has to mount on top of the radio, or below it. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look at my pictures. But so the only thing with that is it's a digital amp, and for some reason it messes up the reception on the radio, so I can't hardly pick up any radio stations. But in this day and age, everybody listens to stuff either streaming or on their phone anyway, so you just plug it in on USB, and that's what I listen to. So all good there. But yeah, great day for a ride today, man. Just wish I didn't have to go back to work tomorrow, unfortunately. Yeah, definitely happy with this combo. I think the last thing I did on this bike, I just put a set of Custom Dynamics LED signals on. It came with LED headlights, but I replaced the blinkers front and back and the fender tip light just to give it some more light on the back. And it's definitely bright now. I bought the module they have. I think they call it Magic Strobe or something like that, that allows you to set the pattern on it. So when I hit my brakes, like right now, of course you can't see it, it flashes for like 3 seconds and then it goes solid, and it definitely makes a difference. At least to me it does. Alright, so we'll make the loop back towards Bluffdale. This is going to be a short ride, and pretty serious dip right here before this tree, so we'll slow down for that. You can't see it, but you can feel it. Oh, maybe there it is. Okay, right after the tree. Yeah, I've hit that thing at about 90 before on the KTM, and even with 8 inches of suspension travel, you still feel it in your back. So, but this is excuse me, this is a fun little road. I think this is 1188. It's gonna, we'll come back past 156 where we turned a little while ago. But oh yeah, it sounds good. Yeah, fun to get out today. Like I said, I went riding Friday on the KTM. That was fun. Hit a bunch of dirt. And then last night, unfortunately, had to go to Dallas, which I don't like doing, but was helping my wife do some research for her Christmas party. She got tasked with setting that up for her company, and we went over and checked out 4 or 5 different places. But the high note was we ate at Bob's Steak and Chop House on Lemon Avenue, and man, that was delicious. First time at Bones, and dang it, I keep saying Bones, that's another one in Atlanta I've been to, Bob's, and I'll definitely be back. It was probably definitely in my top 5 steaks of all time. It was delicious. And I had Eagle Rare with my steak, so Eagle Rare bourbon, that was really good. And I like the fact that they served it in an actual Glencairn, which is what I drink out of at the house, so that was awesome. But anyway, man, it's just beautiful out here today. I keep saying that, but this is the first sub 70 degree day we've had probably since April. And today is October, what is it, 15th? I think. Yeah, October 15th. And it's just perfect out here. I've actually got a sweatshirt on under my jacket, and that's the first time I put a sweatshirt on in months. So, looking forward to cooler weather, being here for a long time, and it's just always a lot of fun when it happens, because we get so burnt out on the heat here, man. Oh yeah. Man, this thing's fun to blast around on. There's just no comparison to a stock Harley, man. It's like night and friggin' day. And like I said, this thing with the heads, there's no telling what it would do if you put a more aggressive cam in and did heads. That would probably be insane. I've seen, numbers way north of 140 horsepower, up into the 150 range, stuff like that. So that would be fun. But then you're also looking at probably replacing your final drive belt with a chain. So that's another maintenance item you got to work on. You got to do something with the clutch. Actually, I forgot to mention, on this clutch I put a set of API heavy duty springs in it. So this bike is the 2020. It's got the hydraulic clutch. Harley went to a hydraulic clutch like in 19 or 20. Then they had a bunch of problems with it, so they went back to the old cable clutch that they've been using since the beginning of time. And the new bikes, I think, are all cable. I hadn't had any problems with this, with my hydraulic clutch. But like I said, I did put the heavy duty springs in it to kind of take the extra power this thing's putting out, and haven't had any slips. Didn't see any on the dyno either, which is where it would have showed up. But yeah, so far so good. Let's see. Yep, we're still on. Keep looking in the mirror to see if this thing's on. I should have got out earlier today, but we got in late from Dallas last night, so kind of slept in. I didn't get up till 6:30 this morning, which is sleeping in for me. There we go. Nice little curvy road here. But back to the grind tomorrow, so be up at 5, probably closer to 4:30, be in the road by 5:30 or 5:45, and back to reality. Some nice places over here where we are. We have about 5 acres, and I like that. But after we moved down here, we found our place, and then the more you get out here and explore and ride around, you see some nicer places. But land is just so unreasonable right now, it's insane. yesterday or Friday when I was on the KTM. I was going through, where was I? Somewhere down south of Hyco, and it was right on the Brazos River. There were 60 acres for sale with riverfront. I took a picture and looked it up on the real estate site. I forget the name of the company or the individual, but looked it up, and I was thinking, I wonder what this cost. Well, they were asking $900,000 for it, which is insane. $15,000 an acre. But I guess the reality is somebody's going to pay it because they're asking for it, or at least get close to it. Seems like it's all went up in the last 3 to 5 years. I don't know, at some point the bubble's got to burst, I would think. TBD. Alright, so we're back to 377. That was a quick loop. It ought to be good enough to see if this microphone works or not. And just a good test for this thing in general. I want to... kind of my plan for this thing is to record some rides, and I'm thinking about starting a YouTube channel. I'm not really an influencer, don't want to be, but I would like to document some of my rides, just so when I get old and dysfunctional, maybe I can come back and relive it and have a good time. So I don't know, hadn't decided yet, but I really bought the GoPro so I could... I've got an older GoPro, but I bought this new one because my old one is so out of date. It doesn't have screens or anything. It's just really a pain in the ass because you have to use the app on your phone to set it up to see anything. So this new one is the 12, the one that just came out, and it's got front and back screens. I did the lens mod 2.0 on it, so it's got a wider field of view. It's got a dang buzzard having lunch over here. But it's got a wider field of view. It's got better image stabilization. It really looks a lot better. So the last piece is just seeing if this microphone works where I can document my rides. So hopefully the answer is yes, it works, and I'll be done. I also bought a few more batteries for it. When I initially tested it, it seems like I can get about an hour and 20 minutes out of a battery. That's another thing I like about this one compared to my old one. This one has a replaceable battery that you can take out and swap, where my other one is just rechargeable. So if you're going out all day on an 8-hour ride, after an hour you can't take any more footage. Well, I bought 4 batteries with this one so I can get 4 or 5 hours a day. Probably won't ever record that much, but at least I've got the means to do it if I wanted to. So pretty excited about that. Like I said, I just put this media mod on with the mic, and that's the whole point that we're here. We'll see how that works. I'm just hoping the clarity is good. I stole the idea from this microphone from another person on YouTube. I can't remember what her name was, but I was just looking at possible solutions for a microphone for a GoPro, and this one was recommended. I wish I could remember what the name of it was. Like I said, it was I got it on Amazon for about 40 bucks. I just can't remember the name, but it's basically just a wired microphone with a little stem that you can bend. So I stuck it behind my cheek pad on this. I'm wearing a Shoei RF1400. I've worn Shoeis for the last 20 years. It's about the only helmet that fits my fat round head. But I stuck the excess wire. It's got about a 3-foot lead, 4-foot lead. I stuck the excess wire behind my cheek pad and just snapped the cheek pad back into place in my helmet. I can't even feel it on my cheek. It's out of the way, and just got to see if it's functional, which I hope to be finding out here in about 10 minutes after I get home and parked and upload this video. Dang, tried to shift into 7th gear there. Alrighty, well, almost back at Frank's Holler. Alright, top of the hill, take a left. we're back. Get up here and cut the grass, or at least run the weed eater. This tall grass is popping up now that the weather's changing. Plus we had rain here last week, so yeah, when I win the lottery, this driveway will be paved, but until then, just got to put up with this garbage. It's really going south fast. There's Des. Alright, back at Frank's Holler. All downhill until you turn around. See if we can get situated here. Not sure where Des was going. I guess she's checking the mail. I don't think we did that yesterday. Actually, you can kind of see my lights working now. Brake lights. Alrighty, that's it. Thanks for riding along.